If you're a Christian who's constantly learning, constantly going to these conferences, constantly reading all these books, but you're not applying it to your life, this video is for you, and I want to help you break this cycle and move away from just consuming information to actually obeying truth. This is constantly a problem in cultures where we focus more on just academics and we think we're getting closer to God just through just memorizing information, but you don't. You actually don't get closer to God through that. You get it through obeying His Word. And so I want to help you get free from that. And so I want to look at John chapter 8, verses 31-32. It says, "So Jesus was saying to those Jews who had believed in him, 'If you continue in my word, then you are truly disciples of mine, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.'" So this idea of it's not just about information, that I'm going to get this piece of information and then move on, but it's to continue in it and to actually live it and become free. So if you truly know it, and it should change you and change your behavior. We all can say, I know something, but how do we know we truly know it? There was a situation where I was doing kind of my dream. I was coordinating these large scale events. I was working with all these leaders. I was doing my dream job. And then in a moment, there was a shift, and I was being asked to become a landlord and to manage a property. And I thought, this is like my worst case scenario. I felt like I'd done something wrong. I felt like I was kicked in the stomach. I don't know if you've ever felt like that when something happens and you're like, this just takes all the wind out of my sails. And so my wife and I were like, this is horrible. We should just quit. And we stopped and we prayed and said, God, what is your perspective? And He responded, you guys should go out and celebrate. You should go to your favorite restaurant and have your favorite dessert. And I was like, I am not going to my favorite restaurant and eat my favorite dessert when I feel like death. And I was like, no way. And the Lord said, no, this is good. And the only reason your emotions aren't there is because you don't know that this is me and I'm positioning you for your next season, and you just don't understand that, and that's why your emotions are lying to you. And as I processed this, I was like, God, how is that possible that I have, totally kind of lost sight of what you were doing, what you were saying, and why did I react this way in this situation? And what he revealed to me was that I was putting my identity in what I was doing. And you know what's funny about that is I had probably preached sermons and messages about not doing that and how we can't put our identity in that, and our identity's in the Lord and not in what we do. And yet in reality, I didn't really know that. And I had fallen into this identity in my task versus in my sonship and in knowing Him. And so again, these situations where we know things, you can preach messages on them, but you're not really living them. And I had to repent. And I had to shift out of that, and I had to align with God's perspective in this. So for you, there may be things where you are caught up in, you're learning all these things but not actually living them. You need to slow down. You need to say, am I truly living what I understand? I had a great advice from a friend of mine, Dr. Stanley Counts, and he's passed now, but I had a chance to minister at his church, and he had asked me, he said, Joel, have you been to seminary? And I said, well, no, actually I did other training. I didn't go to seminary. And he said, good. And I was like, you teach at a seminary. You teach ancient languages at a seminary. I was like, why would you say it's good? He said, Joel, what I've learned over the years is this. He said, don't outlearn your zeal. And I thought, man, what wisdom from a man who knew a lot, but knew the power of obedience, that we need to not just be in pursuit of information, but be in pursuit of revelation that changes who we are, that changes the way we live. So I hope that this has encouraged you, that this exhorts you to not just consume knowledge that you actually don't live out on a regular basis.